Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping into a completely fascinating and honestly incredibly transitional era in literary history. We're talking about the period from 1400 to 1558. We are literally bridging the gap from the days of Geoffrey Chaucer right up to the very dawn of the Elizabethan Golden Age. I absolutely love unpacking this specific era because, it's just packed to the brim with rapid innovations, the birth of entirely new dramatic forms, and some massive shifts in poetic structure. So, get your mental gears turning, because today we are seriously testing your expertise.
Here's exactly how this interactive explainer is going to work. I've got 15 carefully curated questions, picking up from questions 16 to 30 of our literature series, directly testing your knowledge of this specific transition period. I'm going to read the question and your 4 options. Your job, I challenge you to lock in your answer before I reveal the correct one and explain exactly why it hits the nail on the head. Are you ready to test your knowledge? Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Poetic Forms and Innovations. We'll be looking at questions 16 through 18. All right, question 16. Sir Thomas Wyatt is credited with introducing which poetic form to England from Italy? Is it A, the epic, B, blank verse, C, the sonnet, or D, the ballad? If you guess C, you are correct. It's the sonnet. Wyatt is the specific historical figure who bridged this literary gap, taking this highly structured, gorgeous form from Italy and dropping it directly into the English literary tradition. Moving right along to question 17. Which poet was the first to use blank verse, meaning unrhymed, 10-syllabled verse, in English? Was it A, Sir Thomas Wyatt, B, Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, C, Geoffrey Chaucer, or D, Edmund Spenser? The answer here is B, Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey. Now, it's absolutely crucial to distinguish his unique contribution of unrhymed verse from Wyatt's earlier rhyming sonnets. Surrey completely changed the rhythm of English literature with this one innovation. It was a huge deal. Let's tackle question 18. The seminal collection of songs and sonnets published in 1557 is popularly known as A, The Paradise of Dainty Devices, B, Tottel's Miscellany, C, England's Helicon, or D, The Mirror for Magistrates. The correct choice is B, Tottel's Miscellany. This book brilliantly illustrates how these newly imported poetic forms were formally gathered and presented to the reading public. It literally defined the whole genre for the entire era. On to Section 2, Miracle and Morality Plays. This covers questions 19 to 22. Question 19. Miracle plays were performed in towns in great sequences, typically during which festival? A, Easter, B, Christmas, C, Corpus Christi, or D, Pentecost? And the correct answer is C, Corpus Christi. You see, the timing of these massive sequences, which were performed incredibly vividly throughout English towns, was specifically and strictly tied to the Corpus Christi festival. Question 20 tests you on sheer scale. Which cycle of miracle plays is the largest, consisting of 48 individual plays? Is it A, Chester, B, York, C, Coventry, or D, Wakefield? The answer is B, York. If you guess this based purely on the huge scale, you're spot on. The York cycle completely dwarfed the others by bringing an incredible 48 individual plays together into one giant theatrical event. That is a massive undertaking. Let's look at question 21. In which type of play are characters personified abstractions, such as science, good deeds, or the 5 senses? A, miracle play, B, mystery play, C, morality play, or D, interlude? Now, what's really interesting here is how literal these theatrical devices were. The answer is C, morality play. Having characters physically represent concepts, like good deeds actually walking around on stage, is the exact feature that literally defines the morality genre. Building directly on that, question 22 asks, what is the name of one of the finest surviving examples of a morality play? A, Royster Doyster, B, Gorboduc, C, Everyman, or D, The 4 Ps? The correct answer is C, Everyman. Because it so prominently features that abstraction style we just talked about and actually remains intact today, it holds the undeniable title of the finest surviving example of the morality play format. All right, Section 3, The Rise of Comedy, questions 23 to 26. Question 23. John Heywood is famous for writing short, satiric dramatic pieces known as A, morality plays, B, interludes, C, mystery plays, or D, tragedies. If you locked in B, interludes, you are totally correct. The fact that they are described as short, satiric pieces distinguishes interludes entirely from the heavy, full-length moralizing plays we just discussed in the previous section. Question 24. In Heywood's dialogue, The Four Ps, which of the following is not one of the competing characters? A. A palmer, B. A pardoner, C. A poet, or D. Apothecary? Well, the odd one out here is C. A poet. This means that a palmer, a pardoner, and apothecary, along with the peddler, are the genuine titular competitors you'll find debating and trying to outlie each other in Heywood's classic piece.
Question 25 targets a major historical landmark. What is considered the first regular English comedy written around 1550? A. Gammer Gurton's Needle, B. Gorboduc, C. Royster Doyster, or D. Everyman? The answer is C. Royster Doyster. The year 1550 and that critical first regular status are the defining historical markers you absolutely need to remember for this specific play.
And for question 26, Nicholas Udall, the author of Royster Doyster, was the headmaster of which school? A. Winchester, B. Eton, C. Harrow, or D. Rugby? The correct option is B. Eton. It's actually fascinating because you can link Udall's specific day job as an academic headmaster directly to his highly structured authorship of the very first English comedy. It was originally written for his students to perform.
Last but not least, Section 4, Tragedy and Transitions. This brings us to our final stretch, questions 27 to 30.
Question 27. The first regular English tragedy, Gorboduc, written in 1561, was authored by A. Nicholas Udall, B. Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton, C. Wyatt and Surrey, or D. John Heywood? The answer is B. Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton. The year 1561 marked their highly successful collaborative effort that officially birthed regular English tragedy. It was a real game changer. Question 28. Besides being the first regular tragedy, Gorboduc was also the first English play to use A. End rhyme, B. Prose dialogue, C. Blank verse, or D. Alliteration. Let's see how all this builds together. The correct answer is C. Blank verse. We talked earlier about Surrey introducing unrhymed blank verse to English poetry, right? While here we see that exact innovation finally transition off the page and onto the dramatic stage. Question 29. Which of the following dates marks the accession of Elizabeth I in the traditional end of this transition period? A. 1400, B. 1485, C. 1558, or D. 1564? Now, if you've been paying attention to the title of our explainer today, you definitely know it's C. 1558. This specific year crowns the end of the transitional era we've been expertly quizzing today, ushering in a whole new world. And our final quiz question on translations, question 30. Gavin Douglas, Bishop of Dunkeld, completed a notable translation of which work in 1513? A. The Odyssey, B. The Aeneid, C. Metamorphoses, or D. The Bible? The correct answer is B. The Aeneid. The 1513 date perfectly aligns with Douglas's monumental literary effort translating this absolute classic while serving as the Bishop of Dunkeld. Just look at the tremendous groundwork we've covered today across these 15 questions. We've traced the introduction of the sonnet, the invention of English blank verse, the evolution of those massive 48-play miracle cycles, the very first regular comedies and tragedies, all the way right up to the 1558 accession of Elizabeth I. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Given all these incredible literary tools constructed between 1400 and 1558, how did this specific transition set the ultimate undeniable stage for the impending era of Shakespeare and the Elizabethan Golden Age? Thank you so much for exploring this era with me, and keep questioning the history behind the literature.